You're listening to Health Innovators, a podcast and video show about the leaders, influencers, and early adopters who are shaping the future of healthcare. I'm your host, Dr. Roxy Mooney. Welcome back to the show, Health Innovators. On today's episode, I'm sitting down with two special guests, Marina Borukhovich, as well as Eugene Borukhovich. Marina is the founder and CEO of Your Coach Health, and Eugene is the co-founder and COO. Welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
Thanks, Dr. Roxy. Good to be here.
So for our audience who maybe aren't familiar with your company or your story, just start off and tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you ended up to innovating coaching.
I guess I should start with this one.
You should start. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So my background, I was a developer in my former life. I worked for Lockheed Martin many years ago. Had a couple of entrepreneurial ventures. We moved to Amsterdam as expats about 10 years ago. And while living in Amsterdam, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So this was 7 years ago now. And in my journey back to health, after the doctors were done with mastectomy and chemotherapy and radiation and a lot of reconstructive surgery, I felt broken because I wasn't who I was before the surgery and not who everybody expected me to be. I was completely different because an event like that really changes you. And in search to hack my own body and to see what feels right for me at the moment, I discovered health coaching. I became a health coach myself. And while I started working with my clients, and that's really, that was my goal. I wanted to learn for myself. And then I wanted to have a few clients and to just share the knowledge that I have. There's this guy who can never leave good enough alone. And he's like, well, you can't coach with pen and paper. So we started looking at practice management solutions and nothing was working for what it is that I wanted to do. So if you can find something, you build it, right? That's what you do. So we reached out to another co-founder of ours, Dan, who is also a friend. And we started building this, and I called it this toy for me, right? And that's what it was in the beginning.
As a matter of fact, yourcoach.health was a domain we registered originally for Marina's practice, her own practice. And then as we kind of realized that there's so much more to it, but carry on.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be really cute, like Your Health Coach, right? So yourcoach.health, the .health domains became available at that time. So we thought that was going to be really great. So we built this practice management and then started talking to people that I graduated coaching school with, and people just wanted to start using it. So it became a practice for health and wellness coaches, a platform for health and wellness coaches to manage their practice, which at the heart of it, it still is. So right now there's over 2,200 people on the platform and they're working coaches.
Yes, many more people.
There's many more people. There's thousands, like tens of thousands of people, of clients. But there's over 2,200 coaches who are working with their own clients. And what we do, and this is how we started the health coaching revolution, we're spearheading the health coaching revolution, is the coaches who are practicing on our platform with their own clients, we match them to clients who are looking for health coaches. And these are clients, members, or talent of companies, of our industry partners that we work with. And that way our mission, the mission of the company is to bring health coaching to the projected 8.5 billion people worldwide by 2030. I think this is the longest I've spoken and you've been quiet.
Yes,
so
you can't tell that I'm,
I feel it. I feel like you want to talk.
I'll give a much shorter background. I think part of this is, it was just honestly an honor to join my wife and build this together. And so it was somewhat of a tough decision to leave a big corporate executive role.
Really comfortable.
Yeah, it was, easy. Minus the politics. But anyway, background wise, I kind of grew up in healthcare, health tech, about 20 years, pharmacy benefit management, life sciences, consulting, and then my own companies in between. And then decided, I think everybody knew she was my boss, and now it was official starting January 2020 as I joined Marina in building this. So
I love it.
We're still sitting here together. We're
still standing, 2 years later,
attached to the hip, but we're okay.
So I'm curious, health coaching has been around for a long time. So, you kind of shared your personal journey, but what do you think is or was happening in the marketplace that really, what was the unmet need that you were solving for that really kind of helped you, have some kind of viability with this business model?
I think people are just frustrated. And, we mentioned that there's a lot of coaches on a platform, but there were just people, regular clients, regular consumers that were downloading the platform on a regular basis. And we started putting this little questionnaire together, right? Because we wanted to understand who these people were. And the answers that we were getting, we could tell how desperate people were. And they were so desperate for a connection and for answers. And they just weren't getting that from their medical professionals. Maybe just because these people just don't have enough time. Doctors are overwhelmed. They just have maybe 10 or 15 minutes to spend with each patient. Nurses are overwhelmed. And there's actually a lot of nurses who are going into health coaching because now they're not doing what they set out to do. They're doing a lot of admin work, right? Because everybody's so short-staffed. So people were just really, really frustrated and desperate. And we just felt that we needed to help with this. And, health coaching, Eugene likes to say that it's been around for 20 years, but now as the profession is being legitimized, I think it's always been legitimate, but now it's being recognized.
No.
So what's the distinction?
Sorry?
Yeah, what's the distinction between being like legitimate and recognized? Do you think that there's kind of just a new value for health coaches that maybe we didn't have in the past?
Yeah, I think there's a combination of things, right? Again, I always kind of refer to that many people think about health coaching as cuckoo voodoo science, right? But a good health coach is trained in motivational interviewing, in reflection techniques, right? While I took kind of the beginner course myself, just to understand, as a COO and co-founder, I need to know something about health coaching, one would think. And my realization was after the 9-week kind of the introductory courses it was a non-clinical psychotherapist, right? That's kind of how I describe it in 2 words. But ultimately, a health coach today is somebody who can help you understand, kind of put together and help you achieve your goals, right? And to add to all of this is there was also a National Board of Health and Wellness Coaching that was set up in 2012. And I think they've done an amazing job now working with the AMA and the VA. And so actually in 2019, as I was leaving the life sciences company I was with, both AMA and the National Board announced that there were level 3 CPT codes out for testing in the VA. And so I think the combination of, again, real great schools out there, plus the national board, plus the recognition of the AMA now in the last 3 years, 3, 4, 5 years, brought this amazing talent pool to health and care industry.
And not to mention that the health coach is now being recognized as an integral member of the health and care team. So working together with the health team, right? So there's just so much that a health coach brings into the picture. And I think it's finally being recognized. Well, it's definitely finally recognized.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot more respect and appreciation or value for their role and being playing a critical role in the care team. I can see that.
Don't get us wrong, what Eugene brought up before, the cuckoo voodoo science, there's still a lot of that. There's a lot of people who are peddling vitamins or oils and they're calling themselves health coaches, and they go through 1-day training and they have a shake that you lose like 20 pounds with and they're a health coach, right? So it is a lot of responsibility, especially seeing how people want to believe everything and it's just looking for a solution to help them. There's a lot of responsibility in what we do to only match clients with legitimized coaches, right? With those who went to a proper school, those who have real know-how on how to lead their clients. So there's a lot that goes into it. A distinction does need to be made.
Are you doing some of that vetting as coaches are being integrated and having access to your platform?
Absolutely. So besides the qualification, the certifications that they upload, that's just one part of it. We have algorithms that analyze real world data. So it's based on the client's goals that they reach or they may not reach, right? It's based on what kind of coaching the coach does, if they're within their scope of practice, right? So while they can practice with their own clients, and that's completely up to them, that's great. They can do whatever they want with their own clients. But for us to match them, they absolutely need to be validated by us.
Okay. that makes sense. So how has COVID impacted your business? So you talked about launching in 2020. Tell us about that ride.
So first of all, we decided to incorporate the company in January of 2020 as Your Coach Health. When we were funding this kind of ourselves, for about a year or so. And then, of course, just started a fundraising, and then COVID hit, right? And things came to somewhat of a halt starting March in US. So that was crazy time.
But it's a little unfair to us, because we had a little bit of an unfair advantage with what we were building, because all of a sudden, something that we believed in wholeheartedly, other people started to believe in wholeheartedly as well. The whole idea of preventative care and virtual care, right? People just became more and more open to it. So while we had that, oh crap moment in the beginning, with everybody else, it actually turned out to be a blessing for us, because that's probably one good thing that came out of COVID, that work that we do and the platform that we put together is being recognized.
Absolutely. I think that there's so many entrepreneurs like yourself that have been able to benefit from some of the mindset shifts and even behavioral shifts that have taken place with COVID. We've kind of reimagined what's possible. And there's people like you that have been able to ride the wave. And you should.
don't get us wrong, as far as like development, like we had some moments as well, right? Because we developed a mobile app because everybody was always on a move. All of a sudden we had to create a web application because now everybody was home in front of their computers. So we started scrambling a little bit as well, right? So being an entrepreneur, like it's funny because people think like, if you succeed and you raise enough money and then you sell or you go public, right? It's like, oh great, like they did. Oh no, you know how it is. It's so much hard work. It's all of it, it's a lot of these oh crap moments, and every 100th moment is like, oh yay, like something great just happened, right? So it's a lot of hard work.
One just a quick add-on, and this is I think it was Unity at Startup Health said something like 10 years happen in 10 days, right? And so it really spearheaded the whole digital health. I'll say what used to be almost like a movement with some capital going in to really the front lines of it. And again, we took advantage of that for the goal for others, right? So
yeah. So I love that you were just really candid and transparent about the reality of entrepreneurship, right? Because we hear mostly of the stories that you just kind of highlighted of all the wins, all the moves, and it makes it seem like, oh man, I'm just not lucky like them, or I just don't have what it takes like they did because they just made like these 10 decisions and it all aligned and now they're a billionaire. And so when you think about those oh crap moments, or when you think about those like wow surprise good moments, share a story with our audience. What was one of those like darkest oh crap moments, and then highlight what were some of those other moments that were just like surprising wins for you?
Yeah, the darkest moments, it's probably being an entrepreneur, just because I became an entrepreneur in my 40s, like in my early 40s, right? So I'll refer to the year 2019. My kids say that's the year they'll tell you I gave up parenting, right? So luckily they were like 16 and 18.
Ouch.
Yeah. But they're like, you gave up parents. I joke, right? But the kids are very supportive, but there's a lot of things that you have to give up, especially being a woman, just because I had more responsibilities. It's not like I now didn't need to do laundry. It's not like I didn't have to cook dinner. It's not like I didn't have to go to school and spend time with my kids, right? Like there's so much that needs to be done. And on top of it, you add a team to you also need to nurture that team, right? Like this company is a third baby, right? So the dark moment for me, I think, was I felt like I was failing in everything. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was failing at home. I felt like I was failing in my business. My mom became very sick. She was diagnosed with stomach cancer during this time, and I felt like I was failing as a daughter as well. Like it was. So that was a dark moment. And I just had to take a step back and to reevaluate everything and to say, this is okay. I'm okay. Everybody is going through this, and just take it one step at a time. So I know I brought some personal stuff into it, but there's no clear work and home lines, right? Everything, yeah. It's just blurred. Another thing that COVID has taught us, right? There's no clear work and home lines. Everything is blurred. But, for me, like, I'm very lucky that I have support of Eugene, not only as my husband, but also as my co-founder. And he's there during the dark times saying, you need to celebrate this. You did this, you built this, and it's really amazing, right? Because it's really easy to go to the dark place.
I also picked up the washing dishes. So just, as a hobby.
Spoiler alert, have a dishwasher. Spoiler alert. Yeah. So by washing dishes, it's loading the dishwasher, which I am grateful for. I'm absolutely grateful for. Yeah.
I think it's great that you shared that, because I think so many women leaders, as well as female entrepreneurs, really can identify with that, and have similar struggles with kind of second guessing and questioning our identity and all of the different roles that we play, and feeling like a failure. And I think, Eugene, kudos to you for being able to be there and be that champion, be that biggest fan, to remind her that, it's good enough or it's great. Because sometimes we just beat ourselves up because we want to be superwoman in all facets of our life. And we can't.
We do.
We want it all, right?
And Dr. Roxy, like, I just kind of remembering back actually in those other dark moments on the funding, right? We had a lead, we had this, we had that coming together, and then started falling apart. And I actually remember some of the pitches that we did together to VCs, and they were, middle-aged men on the other side of the Zoom window. And even though she's the founder, it's her story, it's her mission, it's her vision, the questions were obviously coming to me.
As I was talking, I was sitting there and talking.
And we would literally, we both would shut down and say, nope, not who we want to build this with, right? And those are dark moments as well, right?
As I'm sitting, and I'm sure you've seen some of this, right? I'm sitting there and I'm talking, but Eugene, and he's like, Marina just covered this point, right? Like, we're okay, we're good. So we actually wrapped up some of these calls, and we said,
very
no,
quickly,
this is not. And we're very lucky to be, the investors that we have that believe in us. We're very lucky because they're true champions and true believers. And I mean, I do consider us very lucky in that, like,
Agreed.
Building a business is a lot of hard work, but there is some luck. And with this, we definitely have had some luck. We should probably talk about some great moments.
And I've heard that story actually, not super often, but I've heard that story a couple of different times, where you've got a female founder and a male co-founder, whether they're married or not, and in that fundraising journey have experienced that. And again, the man's responsibility is to go, I don't know, what do you think? I don't know, what do you think? Right? Otherwise, you're going to be in the doghouse later. Hey, it's Dr. Roxy here with a quick break from the conversation. Are you trying to figure out what moves you need to make to survive and thrive in the new COVID economy? I want every health innovator to find their most viable and profitable pivot strategy, which is why I created the COVID Proof Your Business Pivot Kit. The Pivot Kit is a step-by-step framework that helps you find your best pivot strategy. It walks you through 6 categories you need to examine for a 360-degree view of your business. I call them the 6 critical pivot lenses. As you make your way through this comprehensive kit, you'll be armed with the tools, tips, and strategies you need to make sure you can pivot with speed without missing out on critical details and opportunities. Learn more at legacy-dna.com/kit. Those stories that have been on the show have really shared very similar to what you're saying, is that, the male in the dynamic really advocated for the female and made those hard decisions about, I'm not going to take your 10 million because this is not going to be a good partnership for us. We have to have respect for both people, both sexes that are, leading the company.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't like to lean into the female and the male dominated industry narrative. I really don't like to lean into that because I believe I can stand on my own 2 feet, but it's just the realities of what we do, and I'm a strong woman, I've had a lot of life experience behind me, but I'm just thinking about these younger entrepreneurs who are coming onto the scene, and it's devastating when something like that happens, right? It just like sets you back so much. And maybe they don't have somebody that says, this is not the right way, right? And they think that this is okay and this is how things should be going. And it's really discouraging, right? Yeah. So, so it's kind of like my platform a little bit.
She also asked about the happy moments.
I know.
Right?
Yes. What are some of the wow moments? Like, wow, I never thought that was going to happen.
Honestly, I'll
all of this.
Yeah. First of all, this. No. As founder and co-founder.
As founder and co-founder.
We've been married more than half of our lives, right? So in total. So we've been
okay.
I think for us, talent and people that surround you and the happy moments when, we have an awesome conversation and we're like, you know what, this would be the awesome person to join the team. And they say yes, and they believe in the mission, and, they get excited and they work hard with us. Right. I think that's kind of one of the, building a team. We both love building teams.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's not easy to find. I mean, it's not hard to find developers, right? Like there's good people everywhere, but it's really hard to find talent that truly wants to build a business with you and believes in what it is that you're doing. Sometimes like I have to tell my operations, like director of operations, like she'll call me at 11 o'clock at night and like, go to sleep. Don't, like, this is okay. We'll be okay in the morning, because she's excited about something or she's worried about something that's happening. Right. So I think our biggest accomplishment, I mean, so our team is worldwide, right? We're on 3 continents, we're everywhere. I think we're in 9 different time zones, which is insane, right? Like when you send a Slack message and it's like, are you sure you're sending it to me?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. We get that all the time. And every Friday, like without fail, everybody is on the same Zoom on video because we want to connect. We want to see your kids. We want to see your new house. Like we want to talk about everything, right? And that is probably my biggest accomplishment in this business, that these people, they travel to each other's places where they live. They want to meet each other. They connect with each other. They know what's going on in each other's lives, right? And together, like, none of them just sit there and do the job that they were hired to do. We brainstorm all the time. They're truly part of this family that we built, this Your Coach family. And, I know I speak in this, like, I'm just so excited about this, right? Like this truly just lights me up. Every time we bring somebody new on board, like we literally did a happy dance. Like this is embarrassing to admit, like we did a happy dance because we brought a new person on board. We were so excited about,
After reviewing about 200 CVs, resumes.
Yeah.
So, but
it's a big deal. Yeah.
It's a big deal.
You're putting a lot of trust and a lot of confidence in the future of your business and in every person that you hire. Yeah. I think what you're touching on is an issue that I think a lot of business leaders, like in more established businesses that maybe weren't virtual first companies, are really, really struggling with. There was kind of practices that they put in place to build and sustain a culture within the face-to-face environment. And as they were kind of thrusted into the virtual world with COVID and maybe this hybrid model going forward, they're like, how do you even build a culture? How do you create that community? And so it's great for that to be one of it is accomplishment because it's something that a lot of established long-term successful leaders are really struggling with trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a lot of work. We constantly brainstorm on what it is that we can do for the team. Like we have events all the time, and some of them are educational, some of them are just pure fun and just to get to know each other. But it's the work-life balance. They spend more time talking to all of us than they spend time with their families, right?
We just haven't brought the llama to the Zoom, right? Hire a llama. We haven't done that yet. That's been like my favorite thing to do that I've been wanting to do. So I think that we still.
Well, now you just spoiled it. If the team watches this,
you have to come up with another animal.
I know.
Any other like really wow aha moment that you want to share? Maybe something from you, Eugene.
I think as an entrepreneur, you're always looking for that. Well, first of all, I think there's the entrepreneur to the business fit, right? Like, how does the entrepreneur fit to a particular business? And I think that was kind of one of those things where like it was just natural, right? And I think given what Marina said in the beginning and the story, and I think that's kind of the one component of this. The second piece that always get excited is seeing some of these messages from the coaches coming back and saying, wow, this is amazing. I work with my client. I'm in this with you guys for a long haul. Seeing this feedback that, that the company was built and it's helping people. So that's kind of on the coach's side. Yeah. And then figuring out that market fit, this is not actually, I think, depending on when this airs, probably the first one, but we just signed our first big partner, multi-year deal where we'll be powering up coaching for a company. And when you find that kind of market fit, right? After looking at it, what does it take? How does it work? Right? And all of this with, we are a health coaching company, so we do try to sleep well, but let's face it, there are,
right. There are things we lose sleep over.
Yeah, we do lose sleep over, but it's that, holy crap, this will work. The big vision that we had when we started this will work, right? So I think, again, I know I'm talking a little bit kind of around it just because it's not officially announced yet, but wanted to say some of that here.
Yeah, it's really exciting moments around here right now, because we get to do what we set out to do, and others see value in what we saw value a long time ago.
I have one more quick one. I think our daughters watching us on this entrepreneurial journey and participating, right, and joining. Our older one came up with one of the features at one point. Our younger one in the early days was running our social media account. That's a little secret that we're revealing now. Those things, it's like a family thing, and they doing their own thing, but it's part of it. And actually watching this and seeing the girls grow up and with entrepreneurial spirit, which I think is going to be the future anyway, across the world.
Yeah, our older daughter, she is in her second year of university right now, and she's not talking about getting a job. She's talking about what she wants to do. And what she wants to do is she has an idea of a company that she wants to run. And if she needs to get a job, right after school, that's going to be a means to an end. But she knows what it is that she wants to do. And to me, it's such an exciting moment as a parent to see your child blossom, right? And to believe in something like that. So I'm just excited that we get to show them that it's possible.
That's awesome. That's so wonderful. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but one of the things that I think is so fascinating about your business model is this network effect, right? So you don't see as many network effect platform businesses in healthcare that you do in other industries. And we're starting to scratch the surface more in healthcare, and just the amplification of that. To me, that is certainly an unbelievable exit strategy one day, because the valuation of a company that is a network platform is just, exponentially higher. So that, is definitely a good thing going for you. But it's also a very complex business model, right? Where you've got to have enough of all the players involved to meet the need, right? Thinking Airbnb, thinking Uber, all of the different fast people that are involved. So just talk a little bit about what it's been like building that business model, that complex business model, and where do you see that going in the future?
Yeah. So absolutely, the double-sided marketplace, which on one side we are, on the other one we're not, but the principles are there. We've been lucky enough, as Marina mentioned, investors see the bigger vision. And we've very much focused that first year and a half on supply side and making sure that the coaches are absolutely happy. That doesn't mean that we're going to stop that.
We continuously focus on that.
Continuously focusing on the happiness of the coach and their individual clients, right? we now have enough of that network effect and enough of, I'll say, demand side interest, right? To really start turning that flywheel of health coaching on, right? And that's where we're at. Have we figured out truly the, all the margins, the full business model? No, we're experimenting. I think Marina alluded to, we found that, individual consumers were downloading. Now, we're not trying to compete with direct-to-consumer models in health coaching, but we didn't want to turn it away. And we got some interesting insights from, the thousands of users that actually downloaded, submitted. We're learning.
We're constantly learning. Yeah.
But ultimately, kind of the model on this double-sided marketplace, we're ultimately offering health coaching services, right? And the way we started describing this, we're really building an operating system for behavior change that's powered by this gig economy of tech-enabled coaches, right? Actually, one of our investors called us like an Intel Inside for health coaching.
So depending on your reference point, we've been called either Intel Inside or like True Pill for health coaching, right? So depending, so for me, Intel Inside makes total sense, but for
some younger generation, they don't even know what that is. So
right. Yeah. So I mean, we're constantly learning. We haven't figured it out yet, but there's definitely the demand is there now for this gig economy that we've been nurturing, and we continue to nurture, because not only do the coaches need to be happy, their clients need to be happy, right? Because if they're not using the platform, the coaches are not using the platform, and then we need to make sure our clients are happy, right? The ones that we match, and we need to make sure the companies of these clients are happy as well. So there's a lot of players that we need to make happy at the end of the day. Yeah. So
absolutely.
But somewhere
but the reward will be there. Yeah,
exactly.
But somewhere as a young startup, we do need to prioritize. And again, right, I think, as we'll look at, let's say, the pipeline, right? I mean, this is an entrepreneur facing show, right? As we look at the pipeline, we want to work with awesome people, right? The champions that can believe in us, that can help us mold the proposition.
And they understand the startup struggles, right? They understand what it's like to be a startup. They've been a startup, right, recently. So they understand, and they want to work with you. They want to help you, right? Because we have a lot of conversations where people who've been where we are not too long ago, but they're already like, oh, okay, like talk to me when
you have this and this and this data point, right? Which is okay, we'll get there, right?
Sure, but then probably we won't be talking to you at that point, right? So
right.
And actually, just to quickly add to this, we've had conversations with prospects that were kind of like, not feeling it, not worth it, at least at this point, from a energy perspective and all of that. So,
but it's also really hard because there's a lot of things. I mean, we have inbounds all the time, right? And sometimes it's an exciting proposition that could be a lot quicker to that end result, but it's not where our hearts are, right? So it's always that challenge of, do we go where like the quickest result is, or do we stay true to our course? So far, we're definitely staying true to our course. We have our mission. We know what we want to do. But as an entrepreneur, it's hard. It's
I think that's so important, to be anchored to be so clear on your vision and your mission, and to be anchored with that. And it sounds a little bit cliche, because of course every business should, but I think when you're a startup company, you've got employees, you've got investors, you've got customers, you've got everyone that's wanting to pull you in a different direction. And how do you know kind of what you're describing? Like, how do you know which one's directions are like, really, this is great feedback, we should heed this and we should move, and which one is like, no, that's taking us off course. And that value, that vision and mission becomes the lens for help you making all of those decisions. Otherwise you will go, okay, we're making money, but this is not the company that I set out to build. What happened here?
Exactly. Sometimes it's not just about making money. Sometimes, I mean, for us, it's about making an impact, right? If we make We do want to make money along the way, but we definitely want to make an impact.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe I'll use one example that we started getting a lot of inbound in. And again, as a young company and as somebody who's been in a big pharma company, it was one of those things like, do we entertain? Because the sales cycles are so long, right? The rigidity. We had a lot of inbound from pharma companies looking at, hey, can we incorporate a health coach into clinical trials, right, as an example, or patient support program? And let's start with the clinical trials, right? Knowing how difficult it is for patients to find clinical trials, the matching, right? Coming from that industry. But also at the same time, knowing how difficult it is to work with pharma companies because of the regulated environment. The easy thing for us would have been said, let's walk away, right? Because it's just too far and too. We did decide to spend, again, smaller percentage of our time exploring this, like, is a health coach an intervention? How does a health coach work with a PI? And again, back to the mission of, can we get 8.5 billion people, which many of them do participate in clinical trials as an example, access to a health coach, understanding their goals during this clinical trial, how difficult it is, maybe even for caregivers of the patients. So again, we need to make choices and filter some of this inbound, but back tied to the mission, right? And to us, that made sense as far as the mission is concerned to explore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as we wrap up here, what advice do you have for your fellow entrepreneurs that are in the marketplace? Maybe they're a little bit behind you, maybe they're right where you are, maybe they're even a little further ahead. What advice do you have for them?
I think for me, it's a little bit of what we just talked about, right? Everybody has advice, everybody has opinions, but you need to stay true to what you want to do, right? You had a vision when you started this. You know what you want to do. Not to say that you shouldn't listen to advice. There's a lot of great advice out there, but definitely filter it. And just because somebody says you should go in this direction, don't run in that direction. Take a step back, see what it is, what gets you out of bed in the morning, right? Like there's a lot of exciting opportunities out there, but not necessarily what you want to do with what you started. So,
right.
Mine, I would also say, kind of in my previous life and to this day, I make time for these serendipity calls with entrepreneurs. My previous job was to work with entrepreneurs around the world. I see so many entrepreneurs trying to figure things out on their own, reinventing the wheel on evidence, as an example. And to me, it's just, everybody knows people, right? Like if you're stumbling on something, just don't be afraid to ask, right? It really, people have solved so many different things around everything from, operational sides of things, of evidence-based things, going to market things. Just talk to other people. Don't be shy.
People want to help.
And people want to
help. Yeah. It feels good to help.
It really does. Absolutely. And, I think that's a great wisdom and great advice, because sometimes we feel like we have to have it all put together and we can't really be transparent about some of those answers that we don't have or we're unsure about, and really ask for help. It's a great reminder.
And highly recommend to work with their significant other.
I think you were going to say health coach.
Well, my significant other is a health coach, so it works well. Yeah.
So how do folks get a hold of you if they want to follow up with you after the show?
So we're Your Coach Health on all the socials at Your Coach Health. You can email me at Marina at Your Coach Health. He's Eugene at Your Coach Health. And then he's Health Eugene as well.
Health Eugene on Twitter.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I know you're busy working to bring your life-changing innovation to market, and I value your time and attention. To get the latest episodes on your mobile device automatically, subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate everyone who shared the show with friends and colleagues. See you on the next episode of Health Innovators.